Good evening and thank you for being with us. It is without question the number one concern in our community right now, Thunder Bay's growing guns and gangs problem. But city police are urging the public to remain calm. They say while they are well aware of the influx of drugs and guns and the associated problems, those with no connection to the drug trade are at no risk of being targeted for violence by those involved. Corey Nordstrom reports.
From an outside average citizen, absolutely. Anything is fearful. You hear robbery, people fear. You hear violence at night, people don't want to walk out at night. And I believe it to be the exact same.
Members of the public speak often of the rising sense of fear in the city. But Thunder Bay Police say, according to Stats Canada, our crime rate is not on the rise. And they believe their own transparency may be playing a role in why people feel as they do.
We're doing a better job of advising the public as to what's going on, the type of crime. We're forthcoming with the amount of arrests we're making. So of course the public now hears how many gun calls we're dealing with now, how much drugs we're seizing now, and of course that has public attention.
Police have made it known that gangs from southern Ontario are entering the city more frequently to sell drugs. They say the growth of the drug trade, specifically crack cocaine and fentanyl, is not specific to this area. However, they acknowledge the crimes that are being committed here are rampant.
It's a spill-off effect because the people with addictions have to somehow get this money, and then that's where you have the door flickers for the cars, the break-in-enters, the shoplifting. It's a big cycle, and that's how it works.
Police say while they are exhausting efforts to cut down the drug business, the public should not be as fearful the violence will affect them.
In my 27 years of policing, it's generally the people that are getting hurt, unfortunately, are people within this culture. It's not stranger on stranger crime, as I would put it, or it's not somebody arbitrarily walking down the street that's getting attacked by these people.
Police also say city residents can play a role in helping with the problem. They ask that if you see anything suspicious, that you report it immediately. Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
Workers at the Resolute Sawmill in Ignace will have to wait until next year to see if they'll be going back to work. The mill was initially idled in April for 2 months due to a shortage of logs during the wet spring. That shutdown was then extended until July due to poor market conditions for lumber. But as of this week, the mill remains silent, with the shutdown now expected to last until spring 2020, according to Ignace Mayor Donald Cunningham. He says Resolute has been in contact with the town regularly on the status of the facility. Woodlands workers continue to operate in the area, harvesting logs for other Resolute mills, but Cunningham says he'd rather see that wood used at the Ignace mill rather than in Sapawi or in Thunder Bay.
We're definitely hoping for sure that it does, start back up. But, in the meantime, we're going to do what we can to try to bring other employment opportunities for those folks so that they can continue working, supporting their families, and living in the community.
The sawmill employs a total of 52 people. Attempts to reach Resolute Forest Products for comment were unsuccessful. A Southside charity is struggling to come up with enough funds to deal with their leaking roof. Community Clothing Assistance provides free items to those who need it most, and they are still looking for donations to keep their work going. The charity on May Street is about halfway to their $135,000 goal to replace their deteriorating roof. Campaign organizers had set a deadline of this week for donations, which would then be matched by an anonymous donor. Now, with winter right around the corner, the old roof will have to withstand several months of snowfall, and the charity may be unable to serve the 200 families that go there each month if rain or snow continues seeping through and onto the ceilings below.
If the snow falls, obviously the system, the service cannot continue. So we have to survive somehow. We're going to patch inexpensively all the holes and try to survive.
Kalbinowitz says without winter clothing available, it would be devastating to those in crisis. The charity is the largest clothing bank in the city. The province's financial watchdog has released new estimates suggesting the Ford government's plans to create new long-term care beds only go far enough to keep the system treading water. The Financial Accountability Office evaluated the Ford government's 2018 plan to create 15,000 new long-term care beds over 5 years. As many Ontarians who are waiting for long-term care beds occupy hospital beds, the report indicates the issue of hallway health care will only get worse over the next 2 years. Once those beds planned are in place, the report indicates the wait list for long-term care will still be longer in 2023 than it is today. Meanwhile, the NDP at Queen's Park are challenging Premier Ford to find solutions for North Spirit Lake First Nation. The remote community declared a state of emergency last week due to an influx of drug usage and a breakdown of their water system. Quannatung MPP Saul Mamakwa spoke at Queen's Park, pressuring the government to take action on the situation.
Mr. Speaker, this is Ontario. It is 2019.
Yes.
Will this government continue to stand by and use the excuse of jurisdiction to avoid stepping forward and helping North Spirit Lake?
Well, we are in the midst of an acute crisis, Mr. Speaker, and that's unfortunate. That's why we've provided funding, support, and I have pledged, beyond phone calls, Mr. Speaker, to send mental health, mental wellness teams to cover the crisis and surge response to the community. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with Anishinaabe Nation, in particular, Mr. Speaker, Indigenous Services Canada, to ensure that we work through the acute crisis that's there in North Spirit Lake and find solutions for some of the long-standing challenges that they have faced in the past.
Support teams have yet to be placed at North Spirit Lake, despite the minister's pledge to send help. Well, it's just one more day until ghosts and goblins will take over the streets in search of candy. And Thunder Bay Police are urging everyone to keep safety top of mind while having fun. A special ride program will be set up tomorrow morning, and officers are hoping a little candy will go a long way as they spread the message to drivers to ensure this is a safe Halloween. Thousands of excited kids will be going trick-or-treating around local neighborhoods and crossing busy streets in the process. Traffic Constable Jeff Carlson says drivers need to take extra care tomorrow night, and parents need to keep an eye on their little ones at all times. He's recommending children be dressed brightly in order to be seen.
All about safety, being seen, wearing bright costumes, reflective, whether it's stickers or bands on their arms, so they can be seen by other pedestrians, so they can be seen by other motorists.
Carlson recommends motorists leave their house 5 minutes earlier than normal, drive slowly, and be extra observant on Halloween night. Meantime, a Slate River couple and their group of volunteers are continuing a scary tradition and helping the community get into the Halloween spirit. For the 6th year in a row, the Slate River Slaughter offers a frightening event free of charge, which is sure to test your heart rate and your vocal cords. Visitors must be on their toes because every year is something new at the Halloween Walk on Highway 130. In fact, the only constant is the feeling of fear for attendees. With more than 5,000 people already taking the tour this October, the numbers speak for themselves. Owners Thomas Parsons and Lisa Poole say their dedicated volunteers enjoy putting a shiver up someone's spine night in and night out. The couple say that it's their favorite time of year, and they relish the opportunity every Halloween.
It's dark on us, start to get the cold nights, and everybody likes to talk about ghosts and goblins and spirits and the afterlife, and it's just a good chance for people to come out in the dark and walk down a scary driveway and just get their nerves on edge.
I think it's hilarious. They're all screaming and everything. It's just absolutely hilarious. Once in a while, I'll poke my head out the door and I'm listening to everybody and I'm just laughing hysterically because it's just so fun.
Because it's fun to be scared. Because last year I love that guy said pickle and my dad screamed, but even though he's brave, he screamed.
Really? Is this something that scares you?
This is I love the idea of being scared, but this is my first time here, so I'm looking forward to seeing if it can scare me.
Now, though completely free, donations are welcome. The funds go to any repairs the site may need, along with a local charity. The Slaughter's last tours run tonight and tomorrow night from 6:30 to 9:30. And a Thunder Bay music legend celebrated his birthday in style last night with a musical extravaganza at the community auditorium. Dozens of musicians and over 1,000 fans turned out to help Tommy Horrocks mark his 76th birthday and 7 decades of performing on stage. Jonathan Wilson has the story.
For the second year in a row, Tommy Horrocks brought together singers, dancers, and musicians from his past and present, along with members of his own family, to perform songs from every era of his musical career.
I got to get the folks from the symphony orchestra to come with me, and the Hot Rods, my buddies for all these years, and Pepper and Mint, the girls that I worked with back 40 years ago.
He got the idea to turn his 75th birthday into a big variety show on stage, and now he's done it again with a show called 76 and Still Kicks. Horrocks first took the stage at 6 years old at Knox United Church, and since then he's performed with the likes of Neil Young, Paul Schaefer, and Bobby Curtola. He says he's had a charmed life in the music business.
I'm surrounded by love at 76 years old. God bless you all. Those people out there, they were full of love. And all the people around me here at this gala occasion, they were all full of love. And these people worked so hard to do this presentation, all in the name of me doing a celebration of life. Somewhere over the rainbow.
One of the songs was a tribute to Curtola, who died in 2016 and was posthumously inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame this week.
But see, I think we should do celebrations of life while we're still alive. You know, how many times you go to a place and you're celebrating this guy and he's not there? Why don't we do it while we're alive, right? And so that was the concept. I hope we get a chance. Maybe I'll do this again on my 80th.
Horrocks says he might not even wait that long, as he already has some ideas for another show next year. Jonathan Wilson, TVT News.
Still sounding great, Tommy. Looking forward to that show next year and many, many more after it.
Well, Fiona, we are on the eve of